What stands out about Tim Patrick, and why is it important to kind of have different body types throughout the receiver room?
Yeah, I think that the thing that stood out for us of Tim was a guy that had really gone through a ton throughout his career to come in last year and step up for the Lions in a big way. Had about 400 some yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. But it's what he does without the ball that is really cool to watch. His sense of urgency, physicality, a guy that, it kind of is the word tough that comes to mind. It's pretty obvious, both mentally and physically. So that was kind of what went into that decision, was getting another, a bigger type body guy that can give us quality snaps, and a guy that can, he's played a lot of football in the NFL. He's had a lot of success, and he brings another, veteran maturity coming from a successful organization, and has had a lot of perseverance in the last few years to get where he's at.
There's a lot of young guys in the receiver room. How much value can he bring just from that veteran presence?
Yeah, huge. I mean, how much that he's been able to see throughout his time in the NFL, coming from working with those guys, with Amon-Ra and J-Mo and those guys in Detroit, and what the stories he told me about Amon-Ra and how he practiced and how he did things was pretty cool to hear. And if some of that can continue to rub off on our guys, that's only a positive. It's only a good thing. So it's great to have Tim with us.
Is it planning for him to play a lot on special teams or no?
On special teams, I'd have to talk to Heath. I don't know if that's necessarily why that's not why he's here.
Right.
Yeah. But he may have to back up a couple positions or something like that.
You're down to 53 now. Just in terms of the roster, how do you feel about the overall shape of it and just where you guys are at as a team? Week one's coming.
You feel solid about it. We've talked about this a few times. It's always being evaluated, and the way that you're continuing to find ways to create an edge or fill a hole or upgrade. I mean, those things do occur throughout, but proud of the guys that made it for sure, and really happy to have some of the guys on practice squad that we're able to keep, because that we all know that show team is such a huge important part of this thing. So pleased with it. We have a lot of work to do.
How would you evaluate the defensive line, the decision to keep a couple extra edges, and the story of Danny and DJ?
Yeah, so the ability that, with both Agba and Smoot, give us the ability to reduce a little bit, so you can go a little heavier on the edge, because those guys can reduce down and play a little bit of 4-eye, a little 3 technique if you need. So and obviously Trayvon does that as well, so that's kind of the reason for a little bit heavier on the edge. And then BJ and Strigow both earned it. I mean, they earned it throughout their performances since they got here, continuing to improve. And then especially once we got the pads on, you were able to see both of those guys, specifically DJ, show up in the pressures and the relentless play and the way that he kind of goes about it. So, pleased with 2 undrafted free agents, making 53, and we're gonna need them at some point. But also, they will do a phenomenal job giving our offensive line a look every week, because they're relentless, the way they practice, the way they compete, all of that kind of goes into it as well.
Have you done captains yet? Or no?
Not yet. Next Monday, I believe. Monday.
Is it a player vote, or do you?
Yeah, it's a combination. They vote, and you take that all into consideration, and you sit down with the staff and decide, what's the best for the team. So we'll announce that we voted today. I have the data now to go look at and talk to the staff about, and we'll make that decision. We'll announce on Monday.
If you think back to kind of the early parts of spring, where's the biggest growth from Trevor to this point?
I think, with the exception of today, was taking care of the football. Like in the spring, there was a little bit more, maybe errant, maybe misses, and a little bit more. It was daily almost in some ways, where you're getting used to the scheme, you're getting used to your footwork, you're getting used to new receivers, and so it's not as clean. It's still not where it needs to be, which is the beautiful part. I mean, it shouldn't be. We don't expect it to be that way right now. But for the most part, just taking care of the football is a huge thing. And if we can run the football more effectively, obviously create more turnovers defensively and be able to take care of the football, you're not beating yourself. And so I think from a ball security standpoint, I've seen some growth there. You're going to throw a pick here and there and practice, like it's going to happen. But it hasn't been as much at all since the spring.
Coming in, was that something that you were concerned about, just looking at his film?
It wasn't more that it looked like it was a guy that was, at times trying to do too much. Like, man, the run game's not really hitting here, and every throw becomes a little bit more magnified when maybe you don't have balance. And so I think it was a matter of you don't have to, like, every throw is not going to make or break the game. Like, we got to take care of the football. We want to be efficient and accurate in the pass game, but we have to know when to throw the thing away, know when to maybe eat it and have to take a sack, which we never want to really do, but it's better than giving them the ball. If you end every drive with a kick, usually you'll be okay. I mean, obviously you don't want too many of those to be punts, but the biggest theme for us has been not beating ourselves, because before we can really start to beat other teams, we cannot beat ourselves, and that has been an issue here.
That plan that you put together for Travis and getting him ready to go both sides and split in certain practices, would you call it a success even if you take that? You've taken out obviously the practice you missed.
Yeah, that was a bummer to not have him for 10 days or so, maybe a little more. So that's obviously a bummer to lose that time, because it was doing this for sure. But I think from a scheduling standpoint, I do think that it's been a success. I mean, he still wants more, which is good, but he's got to also hone in on the details and get back to that after being away for 10 days. So, but I do believe it's a success. I think we'll have a good AAR about it after to really look at, all right, was that the best plan? How do we look at it for next off season, and how does that look like for next training camp? Maybe now is not the time to have that, but that's what we will do, and kind of reevaluate how he handles a game plan on both sides of the ball, because so much of it's going to be training camp plays, right? You want to go out and execute what you do best in the first game, because you don't have truly any scout tape on what they are right now.
Can Ransaw still get something out of his rookie year, just being in meetings, being around the guys?
He has to. I mean, those guys have to stay, and it's really difficult when you're hurt and it's going to be a tough go. So you've got to, and he's the type of guy that will handle it the right way. He's had injuries in the past. He's been hurt before. He's been able to stay locked in and come back from that. So I have the confidence in him that he'll be in there doing the right things. I mean, the guy, I remember hearing a story when he had surgery at Tulane. He was waiting to get surgery, and he just had surgery, and he had his iPad with him, and he had the video guy download all of the best nickels in the NFL, and he was watching all their tape while he was, out of post-op. So he's got that right mindset, and he has to take advantage of it.
This is a little off topic, but are you a push guy or no?
Oh man, I do believe in quarterback sneaks, and we do have a push variation. So obviously the rule is what it is. So you do need to probably take advantage of it at times. We do have a bigger quarterback that can get a couple yards, you hope, or a yard or two. So we do have that in our scheme. It's hard to simulate it out here in these settings, but we do have it, especially if you need it based on maybe it's a backed up, you're on the 1 yard line or 1 inch line, and you need to go out and get it there. And we'll look at it. Last year, I think I don't know what we were in short yardage in the NFL, but I think it was good. It was just, we didn't do a ton of Q sneaks because Baker was not the biggest, even though he'd probably bust my chops for saying that. But he can get them too, though. So it'll be a part of the scheme.
Back to Caleb, was that story you shared? He had surgery at Tulane.
Yeah, I think it was surgery at Tulane or something when he had an injury at some point in his career.
Okay,
And
during college.
that's right. It was during college. No. It was during college, and he was, really starting to get ahead and just look at how he could improve his game by watching NFL players do it. So he's got that makeup, and I'm very good friends with his college coach, John Summerall, and the way he's always spoken about him has always been pretty consistent with what we've seen so far.
And then back to Travis, in
Mhm.
terms of workload in practice, what is your expectation? Obviously, not
Yeah.
to give away game plan, but in terms
Yeah.
of how you manage him now week to week.
It'll be very similar to where, based on how we do it, because the one offense goes and then the one defense goes separate. So that's kind of, you can get him in on both of those based on the rep count and if he's in with whichever group, whether it's the first or the second group to get reps. It's about maximizing, especially now because those reps trim down in the course of a practice. So we're not going to get maybe those 40, 50 reps in each practice that we've been kind of consistently getting throughout training camp. So we have to maximize exactly before every practice. EB and Milo are going to have to go through each and every play and highlight which ones he specifically needs to get so that we're very intentional about his reps. All right, a day one install that we've run 4, 5, 50 times now or whatever it is, he doesn't probably need that rep on a Wednesday. Let's make the most of his reps and make sure that he's getting the quality work that he needs.
Hey, Liam, it's been a long off season, but personally, how excited are you to finally get to the starting line?
Yeah, it's really cool. You take the job, and so much has kind of occurred since, but you haven't been able to play a game yet, and that's ultimately what we are judged by, right? Is wins and losses at the end of the day. But you're really more excited to see these guys go play, and win or loss, you want to just see, okay, what's our resiliency like? What is our response like? Get guys in games, and typically, you see one thing or the other, right? There's guys that will impress us that we might not have seen yet. I mean, that's just game day. Anything can happen. So I'm just excited to see these guys go out and play with joy, with urgent enjoyment, and go play with each other, and see how they respond to adversity, how we all respond to adversity.